Talk empowers and becomes action. Listen, those were the voices of both Senator Chuck Schumer, who, full disclosure, is my senator from the state of New York, and the voice of Alessandria Ocasio-Cortez, who is a congresswoman in my state. She's not my congresswoman, but she is a member of the New York delegation, talking about the Fugazi situation that we're in right now as it pertains to whether or not the Democrats should provide the additional votes that the Republicans need in order to pass this continuing resolution. We have been talking about the continuing resolution. Oh, hi, YouTube. I'm sorry, I didn't say hello. Hi, YouTube. How you doing? Welcome to the show with Urban View. Appreciate you. Love you. Mwah. Okay, so let's get back into it. So basically, we're in the situation. We've been talking about the continuing resolution for a little while now, since December, to be clear, but more intently this week, because today at midnight is when the existing continuing resolution ends. And the continuing resolution ending means that the government must either have another continuing resolution in order to buy us some more time to finalize a budget, or there is a budget that is passed, or the government shuts down. That's it. House Democrats, and I'm sorry, not House Democrats, the members of the congressional side of the Senate, the members of the House have left town. So if the senators do not decide to figure out what's going to happen today, either with the continuing resolution being agreed to by the Democrats or a budget being passed, which we know can't happen because the House is not in town, then the government will indeed shut down today. So we got to ask ourselves, when you're confronted with two terrible choices, two terrible, awful, no good, very bad choices. I mean, these choices are from the pit of hell. The question we have to ask ourselves is, which part of the pit of hell is the worst part to be in? If you hear what Alessandria Ocasio-Cortez, AOC, said there, she says, listen, yes, it is a terrible thing to have the government shut down. But if the Democrats support this continuing resolution, which, to be clear, is not really a continuing resolution because of all the shit that they packed into it that is horrible, terrible, and was not a part of the previous continuing resolution, they basically are using this continuing resolution to make the current budget even more awful than it was. AOC is saying you're going to codify the Project 2025 approach that Doge and President Muskrat and co-president Trump are taking right now. You're going to codify that into law by supporting this continuing resolution. She is saying, shut this shit down. We don't, and make them come to the table, because the reason they're in this situation is because when the House Republicans passed this resolution bill, they sent it to the Senate Republicans. The Senate Republicans and Donald Trump and elongated Muskrat negotiated this thing out, fleshed it out. They did not allow Democrats to participate in that process at all. So the Democrats who are voting no, and there are many voting no, Chuck Schumer ain't one of them no more. He was a no yesterday. Today it's a no die, so no situation. But the Democrats who are voting no are saying, wait a minute, if you want our votes, we got to be able to negotiate. You don't just get to have us sign on to this bull that you're trying to do, and we didn't even get a chance to help shape what it's looking like. Absolutely not. So let's talk about it. As I mentioned yesterday, Representative Pramila Jayapal gave us two insights on these Senate deliberations. She said, number one, the GOP funding bill is not a continuing resolution. It is 100% a Republican funding bill that strips funding from the veterans, from food safety, from public safety, and it gives elongated Muskrat. She didn't say that part. I say elongated Muskrat. She said it gives Musk the keys to do everything Doge is currently doing and strip Medicaid, Medicare, and Social Security. So what she's saying is, if you sign on to this, you are greasing the wheels of this car that they're already driving, and you're codifying it into law, as AOC said. Then Pramila Jayapal said the following: getting a vote on a 4-week clean continuing resolution is not the same as getting a clean continuing resolution. Do not cave. Vote no on cloture. Stand up for the American people like the House Democrats did. What the hell is happening in the Senate right now, Chuck? The fuck, Chuck? Like, what's going on, Senator? I got a call. I'm going to have to call your office in just a minute. Basically, as I mentioned, the Republicans have jammed this through with no ability for the Democrats to make amendments. And the Democrats are like, all right, Dem, if we can't shape the bill, then you got the mandate. You always talking about you got the mandate. You own the House. You own the Senate. You own the White House. You done bought the Supreme Court. Put your big boy mandate panties on then, son, and pass this shit without us if you got the votes. But oh, snap, you ain't got the votes. And so since you ain't got the votes, guess what you're going to need? You're going to have to open up the negotiations so Democrats can help make this conversation a bit more equitable and try to put the brakes on this freewheeling situation you got going on with President Elongated Muskrat and Donald Trump and the Doja Boys. Now, remember, Republicans also put into this provision, into this resolution, a provision where basically they will no longer be able to have any debates on those tax cuts that are coming. And the tax cuts are coming because, remember, the billionaire tax cuts expire at the end of 2025. They expire in 2025. And so the Republicans have promised their donors and owners that they are going to make those tax cuts permanent. And the Republicans, in an effort to make that even more likely to happen, put into the resolution a provision that says we are no longer even going to allow ourselves the authority to even debate the tax cuts. If the tax cuts are going to get happening, if they're going to happen, we don't have the power to debate it. And because the Democrats don't run nothing, because the voters didn't put enough Democrats in office for them to have the numbers to combat us in any way, we have a trifecta. Technically, I don't know what a fourfecta is. A quadrifecta? I don't know. But we also have the Supreme Court. So we're just not going to debate anything about the tax cuts. That is in the continuing resolution. They also put in provisions that would essentially defund the entire District of Columbia to the tune of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars. DC Metro facing $200 million in losses. More layoffs if Congress decides to move forward with this budget vote, which they cannot do unless Democrats like Chuck Schumer help them out. According to PBS, Democrats are actually also worried about the discretion that's baked into this bill. Now, I want to be clear. Shutting down the government is not good. It is a terrible thing. This is what they call a Hobson's choice, a catch-22. It is not a good thing. The question we have to ask ourselves, do we take short-term pain now for longer-term future gain, or do we just give up the ghost and ride on down the hill with MAGA Mike Johnson leading the way? They are concerned on the Democratic side of the House, of the Senate, because it gives additional discretion to the Trump administration on spending decisions. They are already very concerned about what everything else we are all seeing. That's why they are hosting town halls in places where people who live in Republican districts are also able to attend. They are crystal clear that the American people are absolutely opposed to what's happening right now. So the question we have to ask is, what sense does it make for you to provide cover to the Republicans for doing this terrible, awful, no good, very bad thing? We are already in terrible, awful, no good, very bad situations. What good would it do for you as the Democrats to provide the ability for them to do it even more, because it avoids the short-term pain of a government shutdown? Again, I don't want the government to shut down, but I also don't want Democrats making it easier for the Republicans to do what they are doing with the Doja Boys. Spending bills are also supposed to come with some specific funding directives when it comes to key programs. This is what we learned from PBS. However, in this legislation, hundreds of those specific funding directives are eradicated, which means there are no rules. There is no guardrails that would keep the Republicans from going roughshod and doing whatever the hell it is that they want to do. And then we have the fact that they already on the floor of the House and of the Senate talking about it don't even matter what's in the continuing resolution. We're going to do whatever the hell we want to do anyway. They done said this. So what the fuck, Chuck? What you doing? In a Democratic memo, they said that the bill would allow for the administration to, for example, take money away from combating fentanyl and instead use it on mass deportation initiatives, which is curious because they spent $16 million sending 40 immigrants to Guantanamo Bay, only to have to bring them back. $16 million. And they were willing to use that money. And in fact, on Monday, I actually wanted to get to this today. We're not going to be able to get to this today. But on Monday, we're going to talk about the fact that DOJ has increased the amount of spending from government. All the cuts that they lied about ain't cut nothing. All the people they done laid off, the courts is like, you can't lay them off. You ain't got no capacity to lay them off. What the hell are you doing? They got to be rehired back. And they got to be rehired back with back pay to the date of their firing, which is exactly the right thing they should do, costing the people money. They ain't got nothing really accomplished but chaos, misery, and destruction. Now, again, this isn't easy. The challenge is if the Democrats don't vote to continue this resolution or to pass this continuing resolution, then they're going to shut the government down. Yes, it sucks. Do we take short-term pain for long-term sustainability, or do we just give up the ghost and allow them to do whatever it is that they want to do? We don't like these options. I hate these options. But half of this decision was made back in November 5th. When not enough people went out to vote because all the parties are the same. And is she really even black? And I don't really know. What are the Democrats offering? I mean, I know they've got policies and policies and policies for days. And they like issuing out policies, just like that song said, doing it and doing it and doing it well. They got policies all day, but I can't find them. I can tell you everything about Iman Shumpert and Tiana Taylor, but I can't find nothing on Kamala Harris's policies. Do the Democrats even have policies? What is a policy? Remember that? Remember when people were so busy wondering whether or not she was black that they didn't want to come out and vote, and they said all the parties would say, all the parties ain't the same, because this is same and same ain't similar. You see what I'm saying? So now Chuck is shifting. And in the clips that we heard, and you're going to hear some more of them, Urban View, YouTube, y'all won't hear the clips, but Urban View, y'all going to hear some more of the clips in just a minute. But I want to hear from some of the other senators in their own words who have said what their votes are going to be. We've got senators like Senator Angela Also Brooks, who had some things to say. She says, I will be voting no on cloture and on the Republican continuing resolution. A continuing resolution will allow President Trump to continue doing what he's doing, looting our government to pay for tax cuts for billionaires, conducting a witch hunt against our patriotic civil servants, people who work on behalf of our veterans, who work on behalf of our students and our domestic violence survivors, threatening cuts to Social Security, to cut Medicaid, causing markets to crash by starting a trade war with our allies that will raise prices on goods and impact the pocketbooks of everyday Americans. She says to allow the president to continue what he's doing would be in direct contradiction with my mandate to fight for Marylanders. We have a unique opportunity in this moment to course correct and pass a clean, bipartisan funding bill that would address some of these concerns and mistakes. That's what folks in Maryland need and deserve in this moment of chaos. Republicans control the White House, the Senate, and the House of Representatives. Whatever happens next is squarely on them. Thank you, Senator Also Brooks. Round of applause for Senator Also Brooks. That's exactly the type of energy that I need more of us to understand. We've got Senator John Ossoff, who is one of the most vulnerable Democrats in the Senate right now, who said that he was going to vote to block this bill and he's going to vote no on the passage. He said that the bill in part, quote, irresponsibly fails to impose any constraints on the reckless and out of control Trump agenda. I will oppose the House budget proposal. The best available solution is a 30-day stopgap funding measure to avoid a shutdown, during which time Congress can do its job to properly pass a bipartisan budget. And they weren't the only ones. We've also got hold on, let me get my notes. Hold on, because hold on. I gotta get to the right page because that's the problem. You got too many damn screen and tabs open, and I got many tabs open. We've got Senator Lisa Slotkin. She says, I will be voting no on the continuing resolution tomorrow because this bill is bad for Michigan. It makes significant cuts to Michigan's key infrastructure projects, cuts the VA, and harms our Great Lakes. But on top of that, my Republican colleagues offered no assurances that the money wouldn't just be redirected at the whim of Elon Musk. They offered no assurances that the Trump administration would follow the law. In my time in Congress, I have always worked to negotiate and support bipartisan budgets, but I cannot support this legislation as it exists today. Round of applause. Thank you, Senator Alyssa Slotkin. Adam Schiff, I'm a hard no on the Republican spending bill, on cloture, on all of it. When a wannabe dictator is trying to seize power, it must not be given to him, not without a fight. Where's the fight, Chuck? Where's the fight? Now, I know I'm not a government worker. So to be clear, this is not a shutdown. It's going to impact me, but it's really going to impact the government worker. So yesterday we had a call-in segment. And I asked the people, do you think we should shut down the government? One person said no. Everybody else said yes. Everybody else said yes. Now, I'm sure there are a lot more people who say no. There's going to be harm. There's going to be pain. It's going to be suffering. And yes, there is. And that's what happens when elections have consequences. But here's the kicker for me. This is the kicker right here. So I also want to say Cory Booker also said no. He's like, he got a whole clip on it. He said, I'm not doing this thing with y'all. This is ridiculous. I'm not going to empower a dictator to be even more powerful. And AOC, who's not in the Senate, she's in the House. She voted no. When MAGA Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, said every House Democrat but one voted to shut down the government yesterday, Chuck Schumer needs to decide. Will Senate Democrats keep the government funded or will they join House Democrats and shut it down? AOC is like, amen. She said the following: Republicans run the House, the Senate, and the White House. You run the government, MAGA Mike Johnson. If you got the votes, go ahead. If you need Democrats, you have to negotiate with Democrats. Those are your two options. Blaming someone else because your shoes are untied ain't one of them. AOC, I appreciate you. Thank you for that. Somebody said AOC should primary Chuck Schumer for the Senate. And to which I say, yes. Why not? Let's have the debate. But here's what the real kicker was for me, y'all. The real kicker was this. Donald Trump has entered the conversation. And Donald Trump says the following: congratulations to Chuck Schumer for doing the right thing. Oh, Lord. Took guts and courage. The big tax cuts, LA fire fix, debt ceiling bill, and so much more is coming. We should all work together on that very dangerous situation. A non-pass would be a country destroyer. Approval will lead us to new heights. Again, really good and smart move by Senator Schumer. This could lead to something big for the USA, a whole new direction and beginning, DJT. That's from Donald Trump. When you making moves where Donald Trump and his president, elongated muskrat, are cheering you on, that's the wrong motherfucking move. What the fuck, Chuck? That's the wrong move. Y'all got to figure something else out. Now, listen, I have an opinion on this. I am a constituent. I'm not the only one with opinions. But because I am a constituent and because Chuck Schumer is my senator, I feel obligated to let Chuck Schumer know how I feel. Now, everybody don't got to do this. Actually, no, I'm going to change my mind. You should do this. I'm picking up my phone. Y'all see, I got my phone in my hand. If you're on YouTube, hold on. Let me see. Y'all can see it. You can see the phone. I got the phone in my hand. I got the phone in my hand because I'm going to call the following number while I'm live on air. And the following number I'm going to call is a switchboard for the United States Senate Capitol. And this is the switchboard 202-224-3121. And I'm going to put this on speaker because I want to call my senator and let him know how I feel.
You've reached the United States Capitol switchboard.
Okay.
Please say the name of the senator or representative that you are trying to reach. Or say, I'm not sure.
Chuck Schumer. Oh, it's a weird song playing. I want to speak to Chuck Schumer. Okay, I can't get there as quickly as I want to. So let me go to my Google machine and I'm going to type in Chuck Schumer's office because I want to call directly. Okay, I'm going to call the Albany office because I can't get through on the switchboard. It must mean that a lot of people are calling the switchboard. So I'm going to call Chuck Schumer's office directly. His Senate office in Albany. Let's see, 518-431-4070. Let's see if we can get through here because I want to let my senator know how I feel about what's happening. Let's see if they answer. Ringing. Can y'all hear this? Y'all can hear this? Okay. Ain't nobody answering the phone. I'm a little frustrated. Ain't nobody answering the phone because I got a whole message that I want to share with Chuck Schumer and I can't get through. That might actually be a good thing because that means that a lot of people are calling. And if a lot of people are calling, that is important. Oh, you know what? Okay, I can't get through in the district office, but guess what? I could call his actual office directly. I just saw that. Let me go to his actual website and let me see if there's a direct number to his DC office. Hold on. Let's see. Washington, DC. Yes, there is a number directly to his DC office. So I called the switchboard. The switchboard was busy. I called his office. Nobody answered the phone. I'm going to call his office directly. His office directly is on his website, 202-224-6542. Okay, let's try this and see if we can get through. Putting him back on speaker.
Thank you for calling the Washington, D.C. office of U.S. Senator Chuck Schumer.
Okay.
We are unable to take your call right now. After the tone, please leave your name, number, and a brief message. You may also visit Senator Schumer's website at www.schumer.senate.gov for assistance with a federal agency.
Okay,
leave a comment, message, or for information on requesting a tour and other services.
Don't want a tour.
Thank you and have a great day.
Hello, my name is Lurie Daniel Favors, and I am one of Chuck Schumer's constituents. I voted for him in the past election because I thought he was going to make decisions that were going to be in the best interest of our communities. However, I'm very concerned and quite frankly, really angry that Chuck Schumer has made a decision that directly contradicts what he had said yesterday. Yesterday, when it came to the continuing resolution, he told us that he was going to stand firm, and that was the right decision. I know that this is going to cause a lot of short-term pain if the government shuts down. However, what we cannot have is our senators from the Democratic side codifying the chaos that is happening right now. We have seen countless other senators who have said they cannot support this because while, yes, a government shutdown is terrible, the fact that you would consider even agreeing to a continuing resolution when this is a resolution that was established without your consideration, without the participation of the Democrats in the negotiations, when you've got Donald Trump, who is now praising and thanking Chuck Schumer for making this decision, it is the wrong decision to make. Now, I am not in any way trying to gas y'all up or big you up. Oh, you should also know that I'm calling you while I'm live on air with my audience. But the reason I'm calling is because, one, I want my senator to know how angry I am that this is happening. And I also want to model for my audience what it looks like to be actively engaged in what's happening with our democracy. We know that you guys did not get the numbers that you need on November 5th in order to do much of anything. But if the Republicans own the House, if they own the Senate, if they own the White House, and if they're buying the Supreme Court, then we have to have you stand.
Length for a recording.
Oh, wow.
To send this message, press pound.
All right.
Or hang up.
I've reached the length of time for recording. So I'm going to hit pound and I'm going to send it as it is. I might have considered doing another version, but for time's sake and because I want y'all to see how this works, I'm going to hit pound so that they have my message.
Your message has been sent.
My message has been sent. Do you see how easy that is? Now, I could call back again and leave part 2. And frankly, during the commercial break, I damn well might. But this is what I need us to do. Pick up your freaking phones and call your senators and tell them how you feel. Now, you don't have to just do this if you agree. If you disagree with me, that's your business. You like it. I love it. You should also be picking up your phone to call your senator to tell them that you agree with the decisions that they made or that you're in a disagreement. This is what it looks like. I could not get through on the switchboard. when I called to the federal switchboard. So what did I do? I then went to their state legislative office because they also have state legislative offices. It's not just the office that they have in Washington, D.C. You get the number for the state office. I tried that number. You heard what happened. It rang, rang, rang. Nobody picked it up. So I said, wait a minute. He's got a direct office line in D.C. I don't have to just go to the switchboard. So I Googled that. That came up. I was able to call and I was able to leave a message. This is what it looks like. I don't know how this is all going to end. I really don't. But the reality is we're in a moment right now where if the Republicans run the House, they run the Senate, they run the White House, do this shit on your own. You got the mandate, Muzz, mandate. But if you can't mandate because, even though you own the House and the Senate and the White House, you ain't got the votes, then guess what? You're going to have to open up negotiations. Because what cannot happen is that Democrats just capitulate and allow them to be run roughshod over. Not when you got people showing up at town halls by the thousands. Not when you got people showing up at Republican town halls from Republican voters who are mad as hell about what's going on. What you can't do is just roll over, Chuck. You can't just roll over. And you know what I am going to call during the commercial break? Because I got a part 2. I feel it in my spirit. And there's some things I don't necessarily need y'all to hear. Because might be some cussing. Might be some cussing. Listen, we don't have a lot of time. And even no matter what happens today, we are still going to have to do the work of building community. We're going to have to amplify the power, amplify the fire, amplify the energy, because this is what it looks like. What did the moment of gratitude quote say today? If you want to go quickly, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. We in this thing together. Because right now, I ain't got no other country to put y'all in, or me either. I ain't got no capacity for us to pick up and move, although I think all the Black people should flee. I ain't got no place for us to flee to, that we ain't going to end up being colonizers like the ancestors who were repatriated back to Liberia. I ain't got no place for us to go. So if this is where we at, this the government that we done stuck with because of electoral decisions that were made, also voter suppression, also bomb threats at Black voting sites, also Donald Trump saying the election was rigged. It's a whole lot of things. It wasn't just the voters. It's a whole lot. But we're in a time right now where you're going to have to use the tools that you got. Otherwise, you get what you get and you don't get upset. Chuck, I'm calling you back during the commercial break because I got some more things I need to say. I got to finish my point. I didn't realize that the time had been reached so quickly, and I speak fairly quickly. So the fact that the time got reached, it got reached. You don't have to have a script. You don't even have to know what you want to say. You might just want to emote what it is you want to say. But pick up the phone. Call the switchboard. The number to the switchboard is 202-224-3121. If it's busy, call their district office. Call their DC office. Let them hear from you, because at this point, that's what we got. We got to go to commercial break. YouTube, I appreciate y'all. About to see y'all later. Urban View, we'll be right back on the other side of this commercial break. All right, YouTube, I didn't really hang up with y'all because I just wanted to say this real quick because I know sometimes I don't get to be in the chat. I was trying to look at the chat. I do usually hang up when it's time to go. This is the first time I haven't done it. Don't tell Urban View. I'm gonna let them know, but don't tell Urban View. I got to go quickly because I do want to try to make this call again. I don't know if I'll have enough time to do it. I just wanted to say thank y'all so much for rocking with me. This YouTube thing is kind of newish. You know, we've been on it for a while, and it really wasn't until November that we really started intently being in this space. So I appreciate y'all. I also wanted to let you know that we have another edition of my podcast that's out today. Lurie breaks it down. We have been defining white supremacy this week, what it is generally. And then on Wednesday, the podcast, again, Lurie breaks it down. We defined how white supremacy has shaped white people, how it shaped whiteness, whether you are righteous or one of them evil ones. We talked about how white supremacy has shaped the way white people think, the way they idealize, the way their ideology. Today's conversation, the podcast episode that was released today, looks at white supremacy and its impact on Black people, whether you were enslaved as an African, whether you were colonized on the continent of Africa. But we're really teasing out this notion of white supremacy because what I've realized is my Urban View audience, we go together forever. They understand what I mean when I say certain things and when we are having certain conversations. But the podcast is a new audience, and not everybody listening to the podcast is on Urban View. So I had to slow it down a little bit. I was like, wait a minute, we can't be breaking down all these other concepts if we don't have no shared understanding, shared language. So I just want to say I thank y'all. I appreciate y'all. The podcast is Lurie Breaks It Down. You can get it wherever you get podcasts. Please give it 5 stars. Please like, subscribe, and share. I really appreciate y'all being in this space, and I'm going to try to be here as consistently as I possibly can, because I recognize from your comments that I get to read after that a lot of us are seeking spaces to get news from trusted voices. And I just am really grateful that you all who are here on a regular basis have determined that I am one of those voices that you should listen to. And I will not always get it right. There are sometimes I will get it very, very wrong, and I will correct myself, and I will be corrected because I believe in integrity and I believe in transparency. And so I appreciate you. To those of you who are a part of Urban View, I love y'all. The Nubians, love all of y'all. And YouTube, thank you for helping us to create this space and to do this thing called unity and community together. All right, now I really got to go. I ain't gonna be able to call Chuck during the break. I have to call him during my next commercial break. Talk to y'all later. Peace.